Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. Thanks for joining me again for another great episode where we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. Thank you for joining us today and for doing your part to get connected and make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. We always enjoy celebrating and collaborating on these connections between individuals and agencies that build on the strengths of Wayne County to move us into a brighter future. And I did that on purpose as foreshadowing for our event. But before we get to our guest today, I want to encourage you to visit our website at waynenet.org/cc. There you can find information about today's guest and links to the agencies that he represents and also to the program available on demand and streaming for those who don't get it on the cable broadcast. Also on waynenet.org, you can find the community calendar, which highlights events that are going on around our community that promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. And you can find out how to promote your event as well there, or to get connected with WayneNet to celebrate all things Wayne County. Well, I've made my plugs, and now I'm excited to get into the program. And today, our guest is Carl Reinhardt III, as he mentioned earlier. But Carl Reinhardt is the co-founder of Future Achievers and also a community organizer, and we'll talk about Wayne County Cares, and I hope hopefully later in the program. Carl, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us in the studio today.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
When I met you earlier, I got the feeling that I was talking to either an unknown celebrity or an unsung hero. You're very connected in the community, but I get the feeling that people may not know who you are. So I'd like you to start the program by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself and your connections in Wayne County.
Absolutely. Carl Reinhardt III, as you said, originally from Muncie, Indiana, graduated from Muncie Central.
We'll forgive you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But came to Richmond to go to school at Earlham College in 1999. Graduated from there with my bachelor's in business and nonprofit management in 2003, and pretty much been around Richmond ever since.
All right. So an Earlham graduate, we'd like having you here in Richmond and Wayne County. Thanks, and belatedly welcome to the community. Maybe you should welcome me. I think I came later than you did. But anyway, so I mentioned earlier that you are the co-founder of Future Achievers. Mm-hmm. And that started out of another initiative where you were continuing in your development in the community. And so tell us a little bit about how Future Achievers, first of all, tell us a little bit about what Future Achievers actually is.
Sure. So Future Achievers is a nonprofit organization, 501c3, and we serve youth and young adults. So teens about age 14 to 17 all the way up to about 21 is the ideal age range for what we do. Our goal is to provide information and opportunities to young folks that wouldn't otherwise have it. Really, it's just kind of what we do in a nutshell. Okay. There's a few different outreaches that we have to be able to do that, but again, the goal is really that connection.
And I'm guessing that really your focus is encapsulated in the name, which is helping youth today to make achievements in the future, to not just kind of coast through life and so forth, but to actually achieve and contribute in the community where they may not otherwise have the resources to do so.
Absolutely. We want them to have a solid foundation, a good understanding of the community, of the world around them, and we also want them to be motivated, to then have purpose in life, and for that to then drive them forward to be successful in the future. Absolutely.
And as you do that on an individual basis, that can only benefit our community and make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play, right?
Like to think so.
Yeah. So tell us about how that got started, because it's a really kind of interesting story. It was developed out of an idea that you and your co-founders had to address a critical need in youth culture in our area.
Yeah, we came out of another great program, the Institute for Creative Leadership. Many probably are familiar. Myself, Erica Butler, and Rachel Ulrich were all a part of that cohort, learning about leadership and how to help make Wayne County a great place to live, work, and play. And so we had this idea. A lot of folks were focused really on the youth, and a lot of folks were focused on education. The three of us came together, though we kind of had, I think, a particular interest. Rachel, surprisingly, was a high school student at the time. She was a high school senior, so we really leaned on her as far as her high school experience, as far as what do teens need to know as they get ready to embark on adulthood. And that was the question we really asked ourselves. Myself and Erica, being adults at the time, having come out of college, what are those things that you wish you would have known before you leapt into this journey in life. And let's front load, let's equip young people with that information as they're still going through high school, in hopes to help them to be more successful in the future. So our project was a financial literacy program initially out of that. And then in 2012, we became incorporated and formed this organization and haven't looked back since.
So the idea was, what do high school students in particular need to get a firm foundation for the future? And the first part of that was this financial literacy component. So how did that work out for you the first year?
It was great. You know, we had a great partnership with Townsend Community Center Incorporated. We were able to get funding from the Stam Coach Line Family Foundation as well to get us started. We had, I believe, about 10, 12 students come through that first cohort in which, again, we focused on financial literacy. Now, from that, though, we had so much success and so much positive feedback from it. We said, okay, well, what else do teens, need to know? And that's where we came up with our 5 pillars. And so, real quick, our 5 pillars are college preparation, job readiness, giving back to the community and civic engagement, health and wellness, and our financial literacy, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Personal finance, excuse me, drew a blank there, personal finance.
Trying to remember exactly their name and not what you're actually doing in them.
In order too, so so those are the 5. So basically the idea is, if young people have a good solid foundation, just a basic understanding in those 5 key areas, then they are on a path, for success in the future. They have what they need.
Right. So managing personally with the health and wellness, and then with interacting with others in the community aspect of it. Also having the financial literacy to know how to manage whatever income you have, whatever level that is. You need to pay attention to that so that you can meet your basic needs and hopefully get your wants met as well. And then looking at being ready for whatever future work engagement you have, whether that's a professional position requiring college education and beyond, or whether it's a technical skill set, so for being ready for a job or whatever that is, how to be a good employee to maintain that financial stability for yourself and your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a really good core set. Sounds like good 5 pillars to build on. And so how's that worked out? You've been doing this about 10, 12 years now?
So over the years, we've had some layoff just with folks moving out of the area, job changes for myself, different things. Most recently with COVID, I mean, as it's impacted everybody,
right.
COVID has definitely been a blessing and a curse at the same time. But for us, it really helped us to really think as how we are engaging students. Before, we were working with them in person in workshops. During COVID, post-COVID, it was, okay, now we have to figure out how to get information out without having to see kids face to face. And so then we turned to social media, we turned to platforms like YouTube and pre-recording videos and interviews and putting that information out, and as well as, using Zoom, and those types of platforms as well too, to be able to connect with students. Post, or as we're coming out of, I don't know if we're where we're at, but as we're coming out of, we have a space that we're utilizing now, thanks to a partnership with Central United Methodist Church, that we're able to gather with students again in small numbers and work with them individually on their goals.
Okay. Well, you mentioned earlier the age range of youth that would be affected, really about 14 to 21, I think was what you said there. So is this a program where they have to start at 14 and continue the whole 7 years in order to get the most benefit out of future achievers? Or is this a program that is a smaller, time-limited focus and then maybe support afterwards? Can you describe that to our?
Absolutely. With Future Achievers, definitely one of the things we want to do is we want to break down, eliminate as many barriers as possible. Okay. And so we try not to have these different types of rules that say you have to start here, end here, be here these specific dates, so on and so forth. So for our youth that we serve, no. I mean, they can come to us whenever, wherever they are in their journey, and we will meet them right where they are at. I personally kind of use the motto, or that, my job is to plant seeds and water seeds. I trust God to make it grow after that. And so that's what I want to do. As I come in contact with students, I assess where they're at, and then I'm either planting a seed there or watering a seed.
Okay, so building on the strengths that they already have, but maybe just not fully developed, would be the watering the seeds kind of thing. And then if there's an area where they need some extra help, and I keep coming back to financial literacy because that's where you started,
right.
But that's one that, especially for youth, is a little bit harder to get a handle on because you get a little bit of money, you want to spend it because there's always something to spend that you don't have, right, as a kid. So maybe getting that seed planted is a critical role for you. I'm curious, though, if you don't have a set program, how do you achieve or how do you acknowledge success in your program of Future Achievers?
Mm-hmm. Really, it's about the feedback that we get, from our students.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, listening to what they know or don't know right there in that moment, and then being able to meet that need, provide that information, that education for them. So recently, I sat down with a teen who is interested in a career in law enforcement. And so, okay, well, where have you started? What have you done so far? What do you know? Well, don't know much, just moved to the community. Okay, well then let's start making some connections for you. So the ability to be able to reach out to a local police officer, to be able to set up a sit-down meeting, to be able to contact law enforcement agencies and find out, cadet programs that they have going on, and being able to connect this student. Sitting down and then working, on the board or a big Post-it piece of paper we had, and sketching out a plan then, kind of mapping out, okay, these are the steps we want to take to be able to get you to this goal. These are the dates we're going to put, so we're going to make it time limited. We're going to put on there whose responsibility it is, so on and so forth. And to watch that young person, their head nod up and down, and for them to say, yep, I understand, I get it. And then for us to execute that. I mean, that's really, I think the achievement, kind of what we're measuring, there. And in reality, we always don't get to see, the outcomes, the benefits, the fruits, of that labor. Again, it's just about making sure that our young folks are connected and are knowledgeable, so that way they can use that information to best serve them. And ultimately, it comes full circle and helps to serve our community.
I had so much going on in my mind what you were saying right there, but one of the things, this image that came to mind was you're planting acorns, and somebody else is going to get to sit in the shade with these youth. It's just kind of an amazing investment that I'm thinking about that you're doing there. But you mentioned earlier that you had some situations with changes and so forth, and some environmental and cultural changes that have happened, and just physical life changes that have happened that have affected the program. So when we talk about the youth that are in Future Achievers, they may come in with broad or undefined dreams that you then help them codify and process and get a plan for, and then life derails them somewhere along the way. I'm not sure that we want to pick out anybody in particular, but when you're making good progress with somebody in the program and something derails them, what's the plan then? How does Future Achievers help them get back on track?
Absolutely. The goal is connection, right? So Future Achievers, we know we're not the end-all, be-all. We don't have all the information. We don't have all the answers. And I think that's another reason why we kind of steer from the program type style, because what we really hope to do is to connect these young people to the resources in the community. So when we talk about those 5 pillars, it isn't just Future Achievers or myself presenting all this information to them. We're connecting with organizations in the community that provide those resources, and we're asking them to come in and share their knowledge with these young people. So we're connecting, again, to the community's resources. So if a child or young person, teen gets derailed, then the hope is that we have connected them with supports in the community already, that they can then turn to kind of help get themselves back on track, as well as coming back and meeting with us as needed.
Great. And that sounds like a really good lead into the next thought that I had. The next question that I had for you was, you talked earlier in the program about providing them information that they might not have already, or resources that they might not have access to. We hear a lot about that, and that's been it's kind of part of the motivation for our program to talk about the other champions of youth in our area. We've been doing that as a focus for Wayne County Connection for a few months now, but talking about the way to identify areas where youth might need support. And so what do you do, not only on an individual basis, because it's one thing to say, okay, Carl, I'm going to connect you with Jim and he's going to help you. And it's another thing to say, hey, group of 14 to 16-year-olds, here's a resource and here's how you get connected to that resource. So my question is, how do you identify those barriers to youth finding that information? Because the information already exists. Mm-hmm. It's them getting to find it. How do you address that?
So for me, it's just been my work experience, my life experience, I think. So in addition to Future Achievers, my work here, I also run my own business in which I partner with DCS and juvenile probation and serve families that are involved in those systems. I'm also involved with Wayne County Cares. Is a coalition here in town started through the education system out at Western Wayne and then moved over and collaborated with some folks here locally in Richmond. And through my work and just being with families, going into homes, meeting with young people and hearing their stories is where I start to identify some of the barriers or some of the information that teens are lacking. Mm-hmm. And I think I've witnessed that in my own journey as well, is that I think a lot of times the only thing that separates one person from the next is just basically what they know. And so identifying those gaps, those things that young people don't know, but then also what are the barriers? So is it a transportation barrier? Is it a financial? You can't afford to pay the application fee or program fee, what have you. And then working to then how do we navigate around those, eliminate those, so on and so forth, then is the plan.
So I'm guessing that there's a viewer or two that's watching, hopefully a whole handful of them that think this would be a great program for somebody that I know personally or somebody in my area, in my community. How do I get connected? What do I do? What are the steps to get connected with Future Achievers for a person in your demographic, the 14 to 21 year age youth group there? How do they get connected with you and start becoming a Future Achiever?
Absolutely. And hopefully we've made it easy. And so anybody can contact us, parents, neighbors, police officers, teachers, whomever in the community. If you know of a teen, young adult who is of need, just go to our website at futureachievers.org. And if you scroll down, there is a referral form that you can fill out with that information to then get those families, get that youth referred over to us. You can also email us at info@futureachievers.org. Email me directly, Carl R., last initial R, at futureachievers.org as well. Again, just give me some basic information and then I'll reach out to the family and connect from there. I'll also give you a phone number that you can call or text. It is 765-313-9670, and that'll get to us as well. Also like to mention that we have been doing some work with Richmond High School. Okay. And so we've partnered with them this past school year. We will be working with them next school year as well too. So reach out if your children are in school or attached to an education system, reach out to those folks, principals, teachers there as well too. If you haven't figured out a way to connect with us, they probably have been in contact with us at some point and can get to us as well.
And can help break down one of those barriers to get you connected.
Absolutely.
with Carl and Future Achievers. You mentioned earlier, and we're coming to the close of our program, but I do want to hit on the Wayne County Cares and the I Hope program, which is just starting up here in Wayne County. It started a little while ago, but get a little bit more into your involvement with, you had an accolade recently, and I forget the exact title, pardon me, but the in Wayne County Cares and how that is affecting youth in our community in particular.
Sure. So I accepted a role just called the Chief Doing Officer. And so I'm learning as we go along, but I'm learning. But really the role is about, just really connecting and moving the work of Wayne County Cares forward. Again, Wayne County Cares was a coalition that was initially started out at Western Wayne schools from the superintendent that was there at the time. And then also included educators, principals from Richmond High School and other stakeholders within the community. And really it was about how do we make Wayne County a trauma-informed community. If you ever have an opportunity to talk with or hear from principals, Stephanie Baker and Josh Amix, they tell a heart-wrenching story of just the tragedies that they face as principals with losing students almost on a yearly basis to some sort of violence, unforeseen event. And their heart really says, hey, we have to get out in front of this. worse. We have to do better. We have to be able to stop this. And so focusing on and educating the community on the impacts of trauma, adverse childhood experiences, and so on and so forth is the work that Wayne County Cares is trying to do. I Hope and Purdue Health Advisors have been here in the community and grateful for their support and their education around strategic doing and working with us. Partnering with them, we focused on about 10 different areas in the community: substance use, workforce development, housing, transportation, parent-family resources, to name a few. And so what we're looking to do there, and the work that we have started doing, is creating some solutions, quick, easy, impactful solutions to those challenges, challenging areas, and then Wayne County Cares hopes to continue moving that work forward. And the key is going to be collaborating with other organizations in this community. Wayne County has a history of great coalitions, great organizations doing a lot of great work. There's a lot of great groundwork already been laid. Good things being done. We need to connect with that, and we need to form a continuum around this community and not really work to reinvent the wheel or operate in silos.
You just mentioned two things, and silos is one of them that I was thinking about earlier in the program that really bring up a question of, if we have all of these great communities, great organizations, great resources out there, why is it that we still in 2022, pardon me for the dating, but why do we still have that problem with people not having access to the resources that are out there? Why do we still have these barriers, and what can we do to stop that? I mean, none of us want anybody to not succeed. We are all created with inalienable rights. All men are created equal. Why do we still have this problem with people not being able to get the resources that are already in our community?
My opinion is I think some of it just is one access, is because I think, a lot of times we put great initiatives in place and we don't have a crystal ball, we don't see what's coming down the road. Mm-hmm. And so we don't know what barriers are going to come up and what challenges are going to come up for certain folks in our community. I think another challenge is we may not have enough people working directly with the folks in the community to be able to help identify the challenges, who are then also sitting at the tables and where these coalitions and some of these activities are being formed and developed, to be able to share that information as well too. And then I think just people have to be willing, as well too. And so you have to have a desire, to then go out and seek out that information to be able to talk with folks, so on and so forth. There's a lot of barriers out there, and the name of the game is not to be perfect. I mean, I don't know that we will ever reach perfection, that we'll get 100% of the community.
It's a sure source of frustration, is aiming for perfection.
Absolutely. But if we can be a little more equitable, if we can reach more than what we have in the past, I think that's the goal, is that we as a community, we continue to try, to reach out as much as we can and to spread the good things that's happening here in Wayne County to as many people as we can.
That's a great answer. One of the things that I think we're all guilty of from time to time is thinking that our situation, the problems that I'm facing right now, are unique to me. Nobody else has ever faced this. So if nobody else has ever faced it, then the answer must not be out there. But that's not true. We know, from your experience and personal experience and working with others, I know from my personal experience and with working with others, that there's no situation that's completely unique. Somebody else has faced it, and you can always ask a question. There's always help out there. I think sometimes the fear is, if I ask for help, there's not going to be anybody there. You've just responded to that and said, no, we're here. We've got at least 2 great organizations with literally dozens of people that are wanting to help that situation. So how do you communicate to the community that your resources are here and available? And how do you communicate to those that are in need of those resources? Hey, we're here, and this is how you get connected.
I think, are you speaking?
I'm speaking you particular. How does Future Achievers and I Hope, how do you do those two things? What ways are you reaching out to the community. You mentioned earlier some of the school connections that you're
Right.
making already, but community forums, open houses, or what kinds of activities can people look for?
Absolutely.
those?
Yeah, down the road. I mean, so we do a lot Future Achievers wise, for instance, with social media. Wayne County Cares is still a bit new. We're getting into that mode of getting out there and doing some marketing.
That's only been around 6 months or so. Yeah.
Right. But coming on programs like this, and having these conversations helps, to get that word out. Be on the lookout for, with Wayne County Cares, they have had in the past, last year actually, 2 major events, large events that they put on. And so we want to continue that trend as well with gathering a wide array of folks from the community across every segment to invite to then share this information and start to talk about, how we overcome some of these challenges there. Future Achievers, again, with the work that we're doing at Richmond High School, with the space that we have over at Central, and then looking to also partner with other schools in and throughout Wayne County to be able to get our services over there as well, to be able to reach those families is going to be a goal and something that we're working on as well too. So as much as we are reaching out and trying to reach out, I welcome the community to reach in to us and contact us, just like you all did to pull us in and sit us down. I mean, we greatly appreciate that, and that definitely helps, to spread the word.
Well, we here at Wayne County Connection believe making any connection that's going to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play is a beneficial connection to make, and hopefully we can get you connected with someone that's watching today for not only they're taking advantage of the opportunities that are available with Future Achievers, but also with maybe providing some resources or helping break down one of those barriers and saying, hey, yeah, we're here, we're ready to help. And from that side as well. So be sure to get in touch with Carl. Carl, do you have any parting words as we come down to the last minute of our program? Do you like to connect with our viewers, or one last shot for them to get connected with you?
Yeah, I would just say, please reach out to us. If you're looking for information, if you want to get a youth connected, if you want to help out, if something that you hear about Future Achievers, resonates with you and you want to serve, we definitely have space for you. We need some additional, life coaches to work directly with students to help guide them. We need volunteers to help with the operation side and the business side. Jokingly and very seriously, I need an assistant to be able to make sure I'm at the right place at the right time. Of course, everybody needs funding, and we want to partner with other agencies to make sure that we're being efficient with the funding that we have in our community as well too. So we need you. We'd love to have you, connect with us. Again, 765-313-9670. Call me, text me, email me. Happy to connect with you.
Carl Reinhardt, one of the co-founders of Future Achievers and the director and the chief doing officer with I Hope and Wayne County Cares. Thank you for being on the program today and sharing with the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Michael Sweigart, your host. Get connected with Wayne County Cares with futureachievers.org. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next month.